Good evening. I this one. Let's start so that we can do probably an hour, 1 hour, 45 minutes. Anyone our domo. I mean, Zedo. Anyway, our domo. Why I was it? Oh, brother, my son brother, but yeah, how am I supposed to answer? Of fury, I think. But yeah, it means, how are you? I'm fine. Of fury. There's a way. There's a way. I don't know why. I'm literally screaming. Okay, if it's in my way, but yeah, or fury, abi. That's how to answer. Good evening, my brother, Mr. Ozzy. A very good Asian brother of mine. Yeah, I got it. Where's I got it correctly, or fury. Um, well, it's not even supposed to be contentious. We are supposed to have a general language that reflects our ancestral connection. I think these are supposed to be something that we should be collectively talking about as a people, as Edo people, Edo State people. We have to come out and say that we want one language to reflect our historical connection, to reflect our historical connection. Um, we have to have one language that will reflect our historical connection. I've always said that. It's a matter of a strong willed government that is quite very acquainted with the history of our land and the history of our people, that has strong willed, quite acquainted with our history, and also strong willed to be able to make it happen. Since the language has a remnant of of his their remnant of his interconnectivity. Their remnant, their words in Edo that has similar or almost the same thing in Esan, that has almost similar or almost the same thing in Onwa, like that. These remnants of these well, groups of dialects be uh, can be meshed together to form a language, all right, of our people, so that we can have well, language is one of the greatest instruments of unity. Otherwise, it would have been a lot more difficult for it would have been a lot more difficult for people to for how do I put it? It would have been a lot more difficult for people to want to separate us. All right. My brother Elvis David, you know you are an admin. If anybody misbehave, because I'm seeing one of them already, kindly block them or delete them, please. So do that. I will not be able to do that while also talking. So, all right. So let's. Just a minute, please. Okay, I feel better now. All right. Uh, all right. In continuation of our last week's on this program, I had I had people. I had about two, three contributors. The The network was a bit not good. I think it's a bit better today. You know, it's Nigeria problem. It's a Nigeria problem. Network is a bit okay today. So so let's also make it more interactive as possible. So you can call through, you can signify if you want to talk through in the middle of the program, and I can create platforms for you to to be part of the program and to also be able to contribute positively to the programs in line with what we're talking about or in line with what today's topic is all about. So we're going to talk about basically two topics, and we're going to talk about basically two topics. Uh, the Ikaladehan story revisited, and the Ora people. One of the Ora friend of mine reached out to me, and he said, "I can remember." He reached out to me yesterday. I promised him that because of him, I was going to do a topic, no matter how short, on the Ora people. All right. We're going to talk about that by 10, 15, 20 minutes. I should be done talking about the Ora history. But the foremost is Ikaladehan revisited. First, it's like we have to start getting all our words and has to start making people understand words. Ikaladehan, the right spelling of Ikaladehan, is Ika, not Eka, because I remember 3 years ago, I was in the midst of a very, very authorities in Benin history. So these old ideas came. Which of these spelling is actually correct? Is it the Eka or the Ika? Is it the Ika or the Eka? All right. Is it Ika? That's Ikaladehan. No, there are two spellings of Ikaladehan. Is it the Ika or the Eka? I know. Mr. Solomon, I've seen you. Don't worry, we'll talk about it much later towards the end of today's program. All right. So you can. Don't worry, I'll trash it out. Okay. It's a straightforward history that quite a lot of people on this platform already knows about the history, but because of you, we'll just run it through one more time. I remember one of our brother at the beginning of the program. All right. That sort of thing. So basically, let's get it very straight. Ikaladehan means the guides of a wood. Guides. All of these ancient Benin words, the guides of a wood. What you meant by the guide, the size, more of like the diameter of a wood, ensures the value of the wood. Ikaladehan, I don't. Maybe someone could be able to put it rightly. All right, the guide of the wood spells out the worth of the wood. Ikaladehan, the guides. The guides in perspective is spelled as Girth. All right, like the diameter, the size of the wood explains the value, the worth of the wood. Ikaladehan. All right. Why I want to talk about the Ikaladehan, I want to talk about the Ikaladehan from a perspective that is not popular, a perspective that is not popular, a perspective that is known to history, but not a popular perspective. sometime last year, I was supposed to work on a documentary, and the documentary was supposed to review a documentary running into a lot of millions. Was supposed to reveal some of these things where we have to travel to Igalaland and all of that. All right, the stories that has been passed on for a long time, that is only recorded by very few of our historians, is that Ikaladehan left. Ikaladehan left. Ikaladehan left Benin to Ile-Ife. All right, that's what has been passed on for just. I can't relax. You people say you can't hear me. What is applicable to? I just hope I'm audible enough. What is applicable to the popular version of the story that you are aware is that Ikaladehan left Benin to Ile-Ife. All right. Well, that's not true. Ikaladehan didn't leave Benin directly to Ile-Ife. All right. I think I've said it in a lot of our in a lot of my documentaries before. These stories have been there. It's just that we had a more of like a co-opted history, that a one-way channeled history that we didn't want to make it cumbersome enough to talk about other branches of our history. All right, it was easier for some of the historians who have said that Kpere left from Benin and went to Ile-Ife. All right, cutting out the essentials of he didn't go to Ile-Ife directly. He went to a place before he went to Ile-Ife. All right, all right. Last week, so that's the problem. People saying that they can't hear me. Last week, I talked about, I think I really will need to get a mic because I'm actually screaming on my voice. And that's why I really get tired and easily have headache, because I'm screaming so that you people can hear. And I don't know why. All right. So, like I was saying, last week, I talked about the Paidu chronology. You've not missed a lot. All right. Last week I talked about the chronology of Paidu's travails or travels. All right. In the course of that, in the course of talking about it, of Paidu's travails, I talked about briefly about Ikaladehan, and I mentioned that Ikaladehan did not leave directly from Benin to Ile-Ife. He left from Benin to Uhe, Kogi State, present-day Kogi State area. People have to get this very fact. This is the authentic fact. Like I said, I'm not a person who shies away from history. I'm an authority on Benin history, by God's grace. I'm getting there. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. All right. I can take anybody on this matter. Ikaladehan, I repeat, did not leave Benin to Ile-Ife, Osun State, present-day Osun State, directly. He did not. All right. He did not. All right. We're cutting a lot of parts of essentials. Me, myself, I've been cutting it all because I felt it wasn't really, really necessary. But right now, we have to start giving an elaborate perspective of our history so that people can really understand the channel of pathways. Because there are a lot of connections that we're cutting off that we have to start appreciating, or we have to start exposing. All right. Ikaladehan, I repeat, did not leave from Benin, present-day Benin land, to present-day Ile-Ife in Osun State. He left Benin to present-day Kogi State area. And it was from Kogi State area, Uhe, that he left for Ile-Ife. All right? That he left for Ile-Ife. Anyway, all of them. Um, Before I continue, I've been told severally of how not just only him, a lot of Igbos also come to the program. They don't say anything. They just watch my program and they go up and cut and edit. And a lot of persons said I should speak about the Igbo people. All right. Why do a lot of people think that it's only more of Yoruba people I've been speaking about? I don't talk about Igbo people. They have accused me like, well, the reason is very simple. The Igbos, I can't be a Benin man, cannot be talking about history and make reference to Igbo people. All right. Um, we are not. I found historically we are miles apart. I can't be contexting Benin history with Igbo history. There are not much of a similarity historically between the Igbos and Benins to amount to me discussing about them. And that's why for best reasons, I don't talk about them. Well, I understand why they are very, I understand why they are very pained. I understand why they are very pained. I understand why they have been carrying Benin matter heavily. You don't have to blame them. I've always said it before. All right, it's like a child who is being denied his independence. All right, they are fighting to have a country of their own, and they think that the only reason that they are not getting it or they are not making headway, all right, it's because of the Benin people. So I understand their cry as a baby or as babies, why they would do everything humanly possible to insult, pay people to denigrate our history. I understand. It's like we are not like they have two basic enemies to their freedom: Nigeria government and the Benin history, not Benin people. It's Benin history. They don't, like I've said, all right, like I've said severally, they don't hate Benin people. Igbos don't hate Benin people, but they hate Benin history. Why do they hate Benin history? They envy Benin history. All right, Benin history has become a problem, all right, that is affecting them in every of their move for self-independence. All right? All right. It is really inhibiting their growth to survive. All right? So they go to Delta, go to Anyomaland, go to Ikaland, and go to a lot of these places. And these people tell them, no, we are not from you people, we are from Benin. It gets them angry. They're not going to face those people, they are going to face us because it's the history that we have. They go to Bayelsa, the same people in Bayelsa also, oh no, sorry, we are partly Benins and we are partly Ijaws. They get angry. Benin again, do you get? Then they leave again. They go to River State. They meet the same Benin people. So we have become the history, our history has become an unbearable pain in their mind that they will do anything to. They don't hate you. They don't hate you. Like I've always said it, so that's why I don't have issues with them. They don't hate you. I hear a lot of our people have issues with them because of their arrogance and all of that. Benins are also arrogant. Basically, Benins are prideful. Benins are, I've been told severally that I'm a very arrogant person and all of that. So, why so much of those hate is coming because they have been denied. They think that we are denying them of their rights. But history is sacrosanct. You don't bend it. You can want to bend it, but history remains. It's easy for you to come to social media and say that these people are Igbo. All right, these people are Igbo. But you cannot go to these people and meet them in their house and tell them that they are Igbo. That is why I've always been telling our people, we should. Have you ever seen Izodua? I ask people a lot of these questions. Have you ever seen me go to any of Igbo platforms or Yoruba platforms or any of these people's platforms to argue with these people? I don't. It is not in my place to go there and argue. I've not, times and times, for some of you who've been following me for the past 4 years, you know that I've grown social media propaganda because I have been to all of these debates, all of these things ongoing. Who get this one are Igbo, this one not be Igbo. I've been to meet with the kings, the nobles, the elites. We don't go meet them for their house, present this question to them, and I also laugh. That they laugh, and they will ask us one question. He said, the last time we went to Ogbaland, when we met with the Oba of Ogbaland, I hope some of you followed that program. You know, the Oba of Ogbaland, the Isee of the Oba of Ogbaland told us. He said, you see that when you people were coming, we had to shut down every event that was to happen for that day to receive you people. That is because we know who we are. He said, he said, go and provide any evidence whereby you said an Igbo person was even allowed to come and see us in our parlor, not to think about giving them a grand opening ceremony like the one we accorded you people. So someone who has traveled to these lands, to these places, have interacted with these kings, have interacted with these nobles, I've interacted with these nobles, I've interacted with these elders. This is not even about books, how many books I have read. I have experienced that 10s of times. Going to these places to meet these people, creating my own history. There was a case of what happened about 2 months ago when some royal majesties came to see the Oba of Benin, and they went to see the Isee. And they were talking about this connectivity. What the Isee said is that if there's any person that he knows that has this authority on Benin descendant, it has to be Zodowa. I'm creating my history. I'm not reading history. I'm creating mine. This is how you make history. At the end of my sojourn, I will have an encyclopedia of Benin descendant to write about because I have been there. I've interacted with them on the ground level, not on the social media propaganda. So please, I've always said this. A lot of our people get worried that they have opened 1001 pages to smite and to spite the Benin history. Don't argue with them. Izodowa doesn't argue with them. Izodowa doesn't have that time. I'm too busy. Basically, I'm not jobless. All right, to even get to be pressing my phone or come on a live video and be arguing with them. All right, the only thing I feel that the ancestors have enabled me to do is to come to come to platforms like these and teach our people the little history that I know, that I'm aware of, that I've read, that I was told. And that's enough. All right. Like I remember one of the highlights of our present Oba's, one of the highlights of our present Oba's speech, coronation speech. He said, it's my favorite line in the entire, almost about 45 minutes to an hour, 1 hour speech that Obaiwa of second II made. He said, it is not in our place to force our history on our neighbors. Quote, Benin people must put that one at all times in their head. It is not in our place to force our history on our neighbors. It is not in our place. Relationships are not forced. The Benins are not forcing relationship on all of these people that traces their ancestry to Benin. They are not. It is, once you know who you are, it's not a forced relationship. All right? So, it is not in our place for us to force our history on any person. Whatever any person thinks that that's what Benin history is their own. We have our own history documented by our ancestors. And that is enough for us. That is what we should be happy about. And that is what we should run with. We should not be concerned about what the Igbos are saying or what the Yorubas are saying. It doesn't matter. They will continue to say what they are saying. It will never change. If you are expecting them to believe your own version of the story, this is Africa. This is Nigeria, tribal sentiment. No one is ever going to believe your story. Just like you are not expected to also believe their story. If you believe their own story as against your story, that makes you foolish. That makes you foolish. All right, believe your story, run with it, train your children, let them grow with it. It has to be like that. So forget about what they are saying and concentrate on the history of your land and on your people. Anyway, having said that, like I was saying that, the topic of today is Ikaladehan Revisited. Mr. Solomon will discuss about Ora. That's much later. That one will not take 10, 15 minutes. The story of Obazola establishing the Ora people and all of that. Get this very clearly. Like I've said, all right, we've cut some parts of our history out. All right. I normally go on an historical lecture also on Clubhouse. For some of you know the platform called Clubhouse. It's like a podcast. It's more of like a radio station. You could talk, everybody could talk. It's very interactive. All right, a series of questions were asked. I will attempt to answer some of those questions, there's some questions like, okay, I will attempt to answer them much later, but let me not deviate from what I want to talk about. Ikaladehan left Benin and went to Ikaladehan left Benin. First, this is a mode of his travel. This is the travel pattern. It's sort of more of like a 270-degree turn. First, he went southward to Ugoton. Then he left from Ugoton. All right? He left from Ugoton. He went straight to Okada. He left Okada. He went to Iraq. Iraq is like northeast of Benin. And after he left Iraq, he went to Uhe, present-day Kogi State. All right? Present-day Kogi State. All right, he stayed there. All right, he stayed there. It is in the records of our brothers. You know, I've been interacting with our brothers lately, the Igala people. It's in the record of our people, of our Igala brothers. All right, who for older historical association, we have been associated with them. We went to present-day Kogi State. Spent a long time. Quite some time, not a long time, quite some time before he left to present-day Ilefe, where he established a monarchy system there. But what I wanted us to picture out is some relationships, all right? It's some relationships, all right, about I've spoken a lot about the Ikedu tradition, the oldest tradition of the Ilefe people, which I don't understand. sometimes our people are very, very surprising. This Osama Pa, sometimes you're very, very surprising. And sometimes you say things that could be very annoying. Do you know how many, do you know how many, how many times I blocked him? I don't get. Do you know how many times I blocked him? Do you know how many whatever he opens every day? You're always fond of always coming to accuse me of not wanting to block him. Do you know how many times I blocked him? Do you know how many of his, do you know how many times he calls me? Do you know how many of his private numbers that I've blocked? So, um, please, if you want to be blocking him, I can make you an admin of this group so that you can be blocking him. I can't be having a stress of blocking him. Blocking him, what does it even change? All the things he says it anywhere. So it doesn't change anything. Block him or you don't block him, does that change him? All right. So like I was saying, it is about a 270-degree turn that he made. About 270-degree turn that he made, that he left from Ugoton to Kada to Irwa down to Uhe. Okay, sorry, I was saying something about the Kedu tradition as one of the oldest traditions of the Ileife people. Now, I talked about that in the Kedu tradition, the earliest rulers, Oduduwa title in Ileife was regarded as Ogene. All right, these are some of the things I'm not going to tell you. All right, that's because truths are usually very difficult for some of these people to talk. Oduduwa never bear any name called Oni. The title that Oduduwa bear was Ogene. Oyariege. All right? Oyariege. Oyariege. It's Ogene. Now, and I've also, again, established a point. Like I made reference last week about an article that some of our Yoruba brothers was writing, that saying that an honorable person became the Oba of Benin with the title Oriogene. I said that is not true. All right. I've also been confirmed. It has also been confirmed to me by one of my own brother who chatted me up some time ago that his grandmother also, at one point in time when he traveled home many years ago to Owa, all right, that his grandmother also referred to God as Ogene. I established it very correctly, all right? I established it very, very correctly that Ogene is not an Yoruba word. Ogene is not an Yoruba word. Ogene is not an Isoko word. It's an Edoed word. It has always been an Edo word. Still sparingly used in Benin today. Still sparingly used in Benin today. There it's Ogene. Still sparingly used today. So it is not wrong because some parts of Edo family retained Ogene. Some part of the Edo family retained Ogene does not mean that they own it. It's not. All right. Earliest Ogene, and I've also established that there's never a time that Ogene has means God. All right. It doesn't mean God. All right. Maybe in modern day description, it's not being referred to as God. All right. But in the purest of sense, Ogene means someone in place of authority. I said that last week. Someone in place of authority, someone who had a reference like God representative, like what Oba is. So Ogene means, basically, Ogene means Oba, like someone Ogene means Ogisho, basically, like someone in place of authority, someone who is like a representative of God himself, not God. All right, someone who you can reference as God, like more of like a subordinate of God, or so. I don't know how to put it very clearly, but someone in the place of authority. That's what the Benins had referred in the old Ogiso, the language of the Ogisos as Ogene. All right, someone in place of authority. All right, it is now being largely retained by the Yoruba, but it's still being used sparingly in Benin. Like one of the accolades, I said it the other time, Ogenosa. We still use it, Ogenosa. All right, Ogenosa. We still use Ogenosa. Then we still use the word, one of the appellations of the Oba of Benin, Oviogen and Uher. And I've said it when Oviogen and Uher, I've also established in our last Sunday that Ogen and Uher means someone in place of authority at Uher. And Uher is not Ileife. I've said that. People should understand it. It's not Ileife. All right? There are semblances. There are semblances of Ikaladehan leaving Uher to establish the semblances of Ikaladehan leaving Uher to establish Ileife monarchy. All right, and he took some of the organization ideas that he got from Benin, from Uher, down to Ileife. And that's why I said that the title, the titular recognition of Oduduwa was Ogene and not Oni. Oni is even recent. Now, when the Portuguese came, all right, they made a reference. I talked about, in our last class, I talked about that. There was a legend of a king. There was a legend of a king that people believe, like a priestly king, that people believe that the Oba of Benin pays an homage to. All right, there he got his staff of office, something like that. There he gets a sort of a spiritual backup for ascending the throne of his forefathers. All right, that was the story that Owen Okun was the first ambassador, the ambassadorial representative of Isee to King John II, who was then the king of Portugal, all right, in Lisbon. All right, he has said that. He told them exactly the story, that there was someone there's always someone that the Oba of Benin pay tributes to and all of that. And in that class, I had made mention of Oganonu, which was Paidu. All right, more key phase. We are not mates intellectually or historically. We are not mates. So you should look for a better candidate for you to debate with. I can't accept to debate with you, my brother. My say. So like I was saying, so it was because of that there was the Portuguese came. The Portuguese wanted. There's a reason I wanted to derive something here. The Portuguese had recorded that the Obas of Benin were paying tribute to someone. Now, they refer to the person as Organe. All right, they refer to the person as Organe. Now, Organe, it's a misrepresentation of Organe. All right, it's a misrepresentation of Organe. And what is most striking is the Portuguese description of where that priestly king was. Look at what they said. They said that this great potentate, they referred to him as a great potentate of the interior, is in the northeast of Benin. Northeast of Benin. That's what they said, northeast. The Portuguese could be wrong in pronunciation, but they can never be wrong with direction because they were great navigators. So they said that the king that the Obas of Benin pay tribute to, I explained it, what that represents, Paidu and all of that in our last class. All right, they said he It was northeast of Benin, and it was at the confluence of the great waters. Confluence of the great waters. Great waters. There are no great waters in present-day Osun State. First, Osun State is southwest of Benin. It's not northeast of Benin. All right? It's southwest of Benin and not northeast of Benin. So they were referring to the northern part of present-day Edo State. All right? That's very clear. So they were very correct that it was present-day Kogi State area. All right? Now, when Ikaladehan self-exiled himself, he understands that the second home of the Benin people is at Uhe. So he did not run to a foreign land at first. He ran to his second house, to his second home, Uhe. All right. He did not run to a foreign land first. He ran to his second home, Uhe, present-day Kogi area. That's where he ran. That's where he sought shelter. And that's where he stayed before he left. Get this very clearly. This story I'm presenting to you is also recorded in the canals of the Igala, that one of the princes of Benin left Benin and came to their land and left there to go and establish a monarch at Ile-Ife. All right? Left a place. So, Uhe. It was at Uhe that he eventually left and established the Ife monarchy. And that is where the Ile-Ife monarchy. And that is how he took the titular representation. All right? He took the titular representation of the Igala history, of the Igala title, of the title that Paidu begged at Uhe, and took it to Ile-Ife. And that's why the title that Oduduwa was known as at Ile-Ife is not Oni. Obviously, Oni were later created after him and all of that. It was Ogene. And that was recorded in the oldest tradition of the Ile-Ife people called the Ikedu tradition. They are aware. They didn't allow Professor A.I. Akinjo to publish that book. Or to publish that book, because they know that there were so many truths in the story of how the original names of the earliest kings of Ile-Ife were called Ogene. This is published in their own works. This is published in their own works. I'm not saying that one Benin person wrote it or one Portuguese person wrote it. A renowned Yoruba historian wrote that work. Professor A.I. Akinjogbe, the Ikedu tradition of the Ile-Ife people is the oldest. Every other tradition of the Ile-Ife people were borrowed. The oldest and the most original of all the traditions of Ile-Ife is called Ikedu. That is the traditions that every other persons came to meet, that was practiced by the Aboriginals. They recorded it, that the earliest kings of Ile-Ife were called Ogene. Ogene is not a Yoruba word. There's no way they can bend that and make it Yoruba. They can bend that to make it Yoruba. So that shows that Ogene, it's a pro-Edoed word. That shows that the beginning of their monarchy had a Benin rooting, had an Edoed rooting. That's the implication of what we are saying. That's the implication of what we are reading. And how did that Ogene got into the atlas of the Yoruba history is what I have just mentioned. All right, it's Ikaladehan He brought that title from Ohe. When he left Benin, he went to Ohe. From Ohe, he went to Ile-Ife. He took the title of his forebears, Paidu, Ogene, and took it to Ile-Ife. And that's what the title, that's what he was known at. He could have taken the title of Ogiso because he was not in Benin land. So he took one of the title of his forebears, Ogene, and took it to Ile-Ife. And that's what he was regarded. So Oduduwa had a title, and that title was Ogene. Oya Yovan. It's not Oduduwa, it's Ogene Oduduwa. Didn't want man. Anyway, let me drink some water. All right. So, anyway, that's why I wanted to draw the connection because I had someone asked this question. Mr. Joseph Eboemie. I think I'm trying to get that your question. I'm trying to get that your question correctly. It said, let me try and read it again. What did he say? What is the meaning? Okay. Anyway, I couldn't get that question again. So, like I have exactly aligned. So that's why I said the Ikaladehan revisited. I just wanted to give a perspective that is not really common to a modern day historical books. But I hope I've been able to also give one knockout. If any of you want to join, you can call through the Facebook program so that you can contribute a little bit. So I'm moving on to the oral history. I'm just going to run through that one in 15 minutes and we'll take some questions and we'll round up and we'll close for today. One of our brothers had said, he called and he said that he wanted to ask me a question, whether I was aware of the oral history. All right. Whether I was aware of the oral history. I said, by God's grace, we are quite very acquainted with the oral history of what led to the founding of oral. All right, my brother, listen very attentively. Like, if I want to explain something, I like to give a historical base background for you to understand what actually led to, all right, the establishment of the oral people. It's true, the oral people are pure Benin people. Not just Benin people. They are royal Benin people. If you're buying him, that's the Sabogida aura. That's a matter of pure facts. That is not in contention. All right, it's not in contention. It's not in contention. That's a pure fact. Okay, yeah, that's not in contention. That's a pure fact. All right, before I go there, there was something that one of our brothers raised. A couple of our brothers raised that question, and it was funny because as funny as the question is, it will unveil a lot of secrets. All right, I think some of our brothers answered it very correctly. One of the questions that was asked, someone could say that ever since Oni had been coming to Benin to see Benedion, to see the governor, Alafin the other day came to see the governor, why are they not going to see the Oba of Benin? Why are they not going to see the Oba of Benin? Like other royal majesties that comes to Benin, they must first of all go and see the Oba of Benin. Someone asked that question. I think someone asked that very intelligent. I think I saw the question. It was a question from from the platform of one of our brother, Humans of Edolan. All right. One of our great brother. All right. I learn a lot from his platform all the time. All right. So I think that's where I saw that question. So I just laughed. Yeah. This is it. The answer to that question was unveiled, all right, October 23rd, 1990. Exactly. Okay, let me answer the question. The answer, exactly. The answer to that question, that you've asked, Isee gave the answer in 1990 when he was interviewed by Lagos Daily's, I think Lagos Daily's newspaper. Yeah, I think it's called Lagos Daily's newspaper in 1990 after he came on from the Olojo Festival. He answered that question. And this is what he told the journalist. It is recorded. We have the next Sunday program. I will show you the paper. I have one of the books that was written by a chief Osenigeru, the photocopy of that magazine in 1990. There's a photocopy inside the book, so it's not as if it's a lie. I'm saying it now. All right, I'll read the dates to people so that they should go and look for the magazine to read. All right, the journalist had interviewed on Lagos Daily newspaper in 1990 after the late Isee came from the Olojo Festival. I asked him the question. He told them that the founders, listen, this is what the Isee said. He said the founders of Ile-Ife, all right, had given an instruction. The founders of Ile-Ife had given an instruction that when the Oba of Benin, listen very well, he said the founders of Ile-Ife had given an instruction that when the Oba of Benin is to come for a traditional visit to Ile-Ife, the Oni must sacrifice 2 cows. Two cows. Then when the Oni is to visit, on a traditional visit is to visit the Oba of Benin, he must sacrifice 5 cows and other ritual materials. You know, we don't talk fallacies. This is from the very mouth of the proud late Isee. This is what he said. We have the evidence. He said the founders, let me repeat, he said the founders of Ile-Ife had instructed that when the Oba of Benin is to come on a traditional visit to Ile-Ife, the Oni must sacrifice 2 black cows. Specifically, it's black. 2 black cows. But when the Oni himself is to visit Oba of Benin, Oni himself must steal, not the Oba of Benin. Oba of Benin do not sacrifice, it's an Oba. Okay, 5 talk back. Must sacrifice 5 black cows. Now, this is where it's interesting. So that means we must get 2, 3, 4, 5 facts from what the founders of Ile-Ife are told the Oni. First, they place more emphasis on relevance in Benin than Ile-Ife. Get it? When the Oba of Benin is visiting you, you sacrifice 2. When you are visiting him, you sacrifice 5. So that means the founders of Ile-Ife knew the relevance, the superior relevance of Benin to Ile-Ife. And the Obas of Benin, or the founders of Ile-Ife, also knew that a king do not make sacrifices. It's only a priest that makes sacrifices. So right from the very foundation of the Oni title, they were meant to be priests. A priest ogbewe. A priest ogbewe. Have you seen the Oba Benin carry knife to be slaughtering cow or goat? But Oni does it. I saw him when the Oba visited him on a courtesy on a courtship visit, when the Oba of Benin visited, when he went to the traditional visit, I saw two black cows on one side, and I saw the Oni killing a dove. So that's the day it was very confirmed that it's actually a chief priest, not a king. That's why he makes sacrifices on his own. Just like what the Ohens of Horomi and of Enya we also do. And now no, all this many all right. So you see, just like you cannot afford to be sacrificing five cows, he comes to Benin all the time for burial, for marriages, for children's birthday, for different types of birthday. We understand is an one-bear person. It goes to almost all, or it goes to almost every function that is invited. If I want to do my marriage now, I feel even invite myself. He will come now. He's a very humble person. He will come. He attends almost. All right, so that answers it. The answers have been provided since 1990 on why. All right. So any of these relationships, these people have a traditional connection to the palace of the Oba of Benin that they don't want the public to be aware of. So they must make a lot of sacrifices before they can visit the Oba of Benin, which sacrifices could be very expensive, and these sacrifices could unmask some of these truths that they don't want the public to be aware of. And so in order for them to hide a lot of these truths, they don't talk about it. They don't want to have a public discussion as about why would they perform sacrifices just to come see the Oba of Benin. All right. Why would they perform sacrifices just to come see the Oba of Benin? So it's rather very absurd. So I think, okay, let's go to the oral thing, and then let's quickly run through the oral thing. I've talked about this story several times, Mr. Solomon. I've talked about it severally. Well, I don't understand. This guy is really very funny, because I've never seen me go into his platform to watch his program, nor comment, nor to think of calling. Then why would you come to my program to not want to comment? All right, please. We're married. We're young power here. If I allow you now. Understand? People are already quarreling with me that why do I allow? I block you all the time. You keep creating different accounts. In my case, in my one of we're here, you keep creating a lot of accounts. So if I allow you now, I cannot be seen discussing with an Ogyomba. Basically, I cannot be seen discussing with an Ogyomba. Oh, it's a taboo. Ogyomba we're here. Understand? So let me not get distracted. Mr. Solomon, let's talk about that. Now, get this thing very clearly. Obaiwai had two sons, Koboiwa, Zuwara. The history, remember, they poisoned themselves and they died and all of that. Then later on, he had three sons. Ezoti, he had Olua, he had Ozolwa. All right. Ozolwa is called Prince because the day he was born, Ozolwa's birth name is called Okpame because the day he was born, heavy showers of ice rain fell, and so he was given the name. His father named. Uh-oh. Okay. Sorry. My data is low. I didn't even recharge. So I have to just quickly run through. I'm coming. Let me off the TV. Maybe it's consuming data. All right. I'll just my data is low, so let me just quickly run through so that I don't before it finishes. I won't be able to recharge now. Okay. um, like I was saying, so Prince Okpame was born the day heavy rain fell and all of that, and he was called Prince Okpame. Now, when when Obaywari the first, when Otohiri Olue, when he joined his ancestors, the mantle naturally fell on Ezoti, his first son. His first son, Ezoti, became the Oba of Benin. All right. Although he was short-lived as the Oba of Benin, he spent only about 14 days on the throne of his forefathers before he passed on. Now, but Ezoti had a son called Owe. All right. Owe, when Ezoti died, on consultations, the chiefs had asked Prince Okpame to go and retrieve Owe was his name. He was a young boy, probably less than 10 years old. Was to retrieve him so that he can come to Benin, but not to assume the throne, basically. But he was a prospect to assume the throne. All right. So it was a prospect to assume the throne, but not to. It was a prospect to assume the throne, but not a sole right to assume the throne. So Prince Okpame was given the levity to go and bring his nephew, all right, his nephew from area now called Eho side of present Ohunde, where he was staying with his mom. Now, it was recorded that on the way, Prince Okpame killed the young Owe prince and his mother and buried them. All right, when Prince Okpame got to Benin, he now gave a news that animals devour them and all of that. But the chiefs were aware, they completely understand the high-handedness of Prince Okpame, and they said that it was not animals that killed them, that he was the one who killed them. Because of that, he had committed a very terrible abomination. So he was banished. He was banished. Mr. Solomon, I hope you're listening. So he was banished from Benin. He left Benin angrily. He was banished. He shouldn't have been angry because he actually was accused of that crime. Trust me, I think he had committed a crime because knowing who Obazolwa was, yes, is that kind of a person that could have done that kind of a thing. I'm sorry, but that's what the history reveals. All right. So he left. He went to the place, present day Sabogida Ora. That's where he married and gave birth to. He had a son. The Benin's remember that Ogwan. He had a son there. But along the line, Ogwan, I think Ogwan gave birth to Ora. That's where the lineage, all right? But his first son was Ogwan, all right? Along the line, the throne became empty. I don't want to go through all of those stories, all right? That one doesn't really concern you that much, all right? Along the line, the throne became empty, and Benin Kingdom became a republican state. They had no king. A lot of persons, that part was also cut out from Benin history, all right? The Benins didn't want to just talk about. So 2 years between Olua and Ozolwa, there was a 2 years interregnum. There was a 2 years interregnum. There was no Oba in Benin for 2 years. I'm sure a lot of our people are not aware of that. 2 years, Edoma Oba. After Olua died, his son has already become the first Oluo warrior and all of that. So Ozolwa did not return to Benin until after 2 years, after he was convinced, after the oracular divination that was set by one of the oracles told the Benins of what they would do before he can return. Then he already had children, all right, but he had one son. He had one son called Ogwan. They are living there now. If yeah, all the Ora people are if you're Zolwaya Henia. Why people not living there in Ora? No. All the Ora, the people you now called Ora people came directly from Ozolwa. They came. I don't know. You understand? So when Ozolana returned, he had other children. All right. He had other children. He had two other sons, Aran and Esige. Aran, Idubo and Osawe. Osawe became Esige, Idubo became Aran. Now get it very clear. Unlike what is being projected as Benin history, Aran was not Obaolua's first son. All right? Aran was not Obaolua's first son. That means Obazolua's first son and second son did not become Oba in Benin. It was his third son. I want us to get it very clearly. His first son was born in Ora. His second son was Aran, who also did not become the Oba of Benin. It was his third son, Esige, that became the Oba of Benin. There could have been okay. Now I understand what you meant now, Mr. Ode. Were people not living in Ora before him? Possibly there could have been people, but you know how most of these places are made. It is not who were living there. It is the kind of people that started living there. Sometimes you could have been. It's a normal thing. There are some people in one area in your area now. There are some people that stay there for 10 years. Nobody's aware of them. Then one person just comes and everybody becomes aware of them. It is always a case of history. There might have been people living there. It might be true, might not be true. But what the most prominent figure that came to town was Prince Ozolwa. Being that he's a prince, who is next in line to be the Oba of Benin, he should have a lot of courtiers, a lot of military troops that will follow him over there. So his presence would have been felt and become so loud that it naturally would cover any other thing that happened there, whether there were people, whether there are people or not. Now, in the first contest, like Messier Kwa said, the question he has raised, in the first contest, I've done 3-4 family meetings with at Evieme at our shrine there at Emidu Shrine. I've done a couple of, I think I've done 4 meetings. When my grandfather was here alive, I used to follow my grandfather. Not that long ago, 4 years ago. I think the last meeting I attended at Evieme was 4 years ago. So at Evieme, at our shrine there at Evieme at Emidu, where Isekere meets Evieme by your rights. We have an Emidu there. All right. I used to go there and we do meetings there. All right. There I was told that if your back don't prostrate, generally, the main lines of the Oba's children don't prostrate to greet the Oba. It is the tradition, but it is not a precursor of rights. It's not a precursor of rights. For example, if I am one of the sons of the Oba of Benin, I accompany other people to go and see His Majesty, and every other person's bow, and I did not bow, the monarch will not frown at it. The monarch will ask, why? Who are you? If you're able to introduce yourself of being one of the sons from patrilineal lines of the Oba, it's not a problem. That's the law. It's not only, I'm just trying to say that it has not, it's the law that substantiates the oral history of being patrilineally related to the royal house. outside the Ora people, generally, the sons of the Obas don't bow before the Oba. Like I said, it is not the precursor of rights. It's not as if, you know, it is, if you like, you do, if you like, you don't. But if you're not able to not defend that traditional right bestowed upon the lines of these main lines of these Obas, children of the Oba, it becomes a problem. All right. But I don't think that's even a big deal. I don't even think that would be a big deal. I'm also a patrilineal lines of the one of the lines of the Obas of the neighbor. Why won't I bow to my king? He's my king. I don't know whether you understand. It doesn't take anything from anybody. It doesn't show pride. The Oba is the Oba. Oba go Oba dia. Eliedo time. Ododowa. Oba go Oba dia Ododowa. So an Oba cannot be in the shadow of any Oba. They are always, once you're an Oba, your law, however you want to do. All right. You understand? An Oba cannot be in the shadow of another Oba. An Oba cannot be in the shadow of another Oba. We must understand that. Oba Gobadia. You understand? Oba Gobadia. You know. So to me, I don't think that's a big deal. It's not a show of pride. You understand? It shows traditionally you are patrilineally related to the royal house, and that's why there's a belief. No, he's right, Monsieur Ekwase. He's right. You understand? He's right about that. If you also watch it, Ora people are regarded as children. All right? Are regarded as children. So and I make my anyway. I think if there are other questions, you could ask your question. You could come online, and I could accept you, and so that if you want to ask questions, if you want to come up, you let me know so that we can take one or two questions, and then we round up for today, so that by the day, we Monday. Quite a very busy day for me on Mondays. Yes. Mr. Solomon, yeah, you are from the direct patrilineal line. Patrilineally, you are a direct line from the palace, from the lines of the line you're from. Is one of the greatest and one of the most there's a pre-Adamic cataclysm. Sometimes some refer it to Eru Usagumero. Some refer it to as the years of gap. There was a gap, all right, because some scientists could not reconcile the story of the biblical creation and the scientific evidence of Big Bang. Because they were millions of years apart. Anyway, we'll discuss that. Why the first instituted Guapata. You could have been down. Oh, Bosa Basaki. It could have been down. Okay, we could talk offline. All right, Goddy West. We'll talk offline. All right. So, any other question? So just let me know. Do you want to come on?
Hello.
Is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay. Good evening, my brother.
Good
Can you hear
evening.
me? Yeah, good
I can hear you,
evening.
sir.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I've been following you for some time now, brother. I'm from
thank you.
Iwindu community, he
Okay.
said. So I was
Okay,
online one day when
Umidi.
Orí Windu wà ní pàtàkì. Orí wọ́n say kakabo, my brother. Yeah, I
Oh,
was really I mean when you talk about my area, I was very happy because those days I grew up there. Seeing we have been doing they have been doing a lot of things there. Well, even when I came with my classmates those days, we normally do things they do in villages. Almost everything, the traditional culture, everything. So I was imagining that what is the who are we and where are we from? What kind of how will I put it? What kind of people we are in Edo State? You know, so I was trying to try to know what is going on around me. But when I listened to you, and I realized that my father really told me because we have some of the Shiran you talked about in Benin history. We have all the Shiran in my area. When you talk about Ezenimilikbo, Buddha, we hold we are we hold the shrine in my area. You know, so when you talked about in Windu history, so and I realized that see where we are coming from. So I appreciate you. I thank you for that. And we are planning to invite you soon so that you can tell us about our history. In my area, very soon we'll invite you. I thank you, my brother. Osabo Adebawe,
what's
you
it?
tried it, but you are trying for us,
Quarter.
really. What's it, Kakabo?
What? Quarter. Oh,
Yeah, Matthew, now, Matthew, very soon, okay?
while I wrote, I'm always
Okay,
available.
okay.
Quarter.
Okay, well, yeah.
Okay. So, any other one? That was not the question you asked. Um, I'm coming. Can't get. Terry, we were again. Also, sorry. The question you asked, no, Oni didn't come from a traditional visit. All right, that was a ceremonial visit. All right, Oni didn't come for a traditional visit. That's a ceremonial visit. All right, he only came for ceremony, for a coronation visit. But when the Oba of going there, he went for a thank you slash. Oh, I gave me Oba now. It's not traditional, so he sacrificed two cows, two black cows. Idu is older than Oromiyan regime, more than 5,000 to 10,000 years apart, of history apart. Uh, so, in absence of question, in absence of question, okay, be rounding up soon. Okay. Able. I would have loved to answer your question. I think Igbo plays one of the most outstanding role during the Ugemobo. The Ugemobo. I think is the chief propitiator. Someone should correct me, of the Ugemobo. All right, which is actually done outside the palace, in front of the palace gate. It was the story of the festival that has to reenact Oba Ishige's victory over Aran. Now, Aibo deputizes Uwangwe. Agbono Maibo. Agbono Mawangwe or Maibo. You understand? Aibo title is more of like a twin title to Uwangwe, only that Uwangwe is higher, hierarchically. Uwangwe is the head of Igawonogbe. Under the three palace societies, the highest amongst all of them is the Iwebo. All right, and Aibo is the second in command of the Iwebo. The Iwebo Palace Guild. I met one of the my tailor. It's also part of the Iwebo Guild. They usually say that other guilds are like children to Iwebo. Iwebo is the biggest palace society by a very far margin. So an Aibo is the second in command after Uwangwe. So Aibo plays a very crucial role, I think, during the Ugemobo. All right. But I will have to confirm that. I hate not being authoritative about what I say. So you will leave it like that. Next week Sunday, peradventure, I should be able to have more. I've forgotten. I used to know some of the functions of some of these top palace chiefs. What led to the death of Obayawa, two sons on the same day? I think we've talked about envy. They became envious of themselves as a result of the women they married. Koboiwa, who was not designated to be the next Oba of Benin, and Ezuwara became the Enogi of Iyowa, the first Enogi of Iyowa. So Ezuwara's wife was not saying that if Dete Ezuwara talk what, you know how women talk, like if Ezuwara not qualified to be the next Oba, instead of allowing his brother, his half brother become the Oba, and envy struck, and envy struck, and before you know, the both they poisoned themselves unknowingly, and the both died. It was envy. They were envious of themselves as a result of the wives they married.